Good morning. Today I am going to explain the new topic, that is corrosion of metals. Corrosion of metals. Try to understand what is corrosion. Corrosion is a process of slow oxidation or a kind of withering or slow reactions of metals under atmospheric conditions is known as corrosion. You know, metals are highly reactive. Few metals are more reactive, some are less reactive, some are very less reactive. The moderately reactive metals get corroded. We are interested here to discuss about the commonly used metals which when gets corroded, their utility in our practical life get affected. Just like corrosion of copper, corrosion of silver, corrosion of iron. In the same way, there are various useful metals that can be used in our day-to-day life. When such metals or the materials made of these metals get exposed to humid air, they get corroded. Corrosion is, in simple words, we may say that just like the withering of rocks. Corrosion is a slow but a steady, means slow and a steady reaction of metals under atmospheric conditions is called corrosion. You have already studied, or I think you have seen also, that copper made utensils or the alloys of copper like brass, bronze, made materials or equipments get corroded when they are exposed to humid air. For a long exposure to the atmosphere, these materials get coated with a greenish compound. The greenish coating or the layer, thin layer formed on the topmost layer of copper made materials like utensils and other things, these materials get damaged due to this corrosion. Why? Because when these copper utensils or the alloys of copper remained exposed to air having moisture, or if water is left over on the surface of these utensils or the substances, they gradually turned bluish, greenish yellow substance, mostly green. So this is due to the formation of a basic copper carbonate. You know, copper is less reactive, but when it is exposed to the air for a longer period of time, then the outermost surface of copper made objects gradually turns black at first. This is due to the formation of copper 2 oxide. When this copper 2 oxide, that is CuO, again combines with carbon dioxide and water present in the atmosphere in the form of moisture, or if water is present on the surface of such materials, these substances further react together, that is CuO plus CO2 plus H2O. They form a basic copper carbonate, that is CuOH whole 2 and CuCO3. These two compounds are not separated from each other. They get combined together and they remain in combined state like a double salt. So, these, see here, at first copper combines with oxygen, atmospheric oxygen, copper combines with atmospheric oxygen and forms black oxide, copper oxide, means copper 2 oxide, or you may say cupric oxide. Then this cupric oxide combines with atmospheric carbon dioxide and moisture, that is H2O. Gradually, for a longer period of time, they get converted into basic copper carbonates. So, this is an example of corrosion of copper. In the same way, you have already seen or heard of saying someone that silver made materials like the ornaments get blackened after use for some time. Why? The silver made ornaments or the articles get blackened. What is the reason behind this? This is also due to the slow and steady rate of corrosion. Means, how silver gets blackened? Silver, when comes in contact with the hydrogen sulfide gas present in the atmosphere, the hydrogen sulfide reduces silver and forms silver. Silver gets separated from silver. Silver gets combined with, silver gets combined with sulfur and forms silver sulfide, Ag2S. It is a black compound. Silver sulfide is a black compound. So, due to the formation of silver sulfide by the reaction between silver and atmospheric hydrogen sulfide, which is present in a trace amount in the atmosphere, so this leaves the black coating on the surface of the silver made materials. So, this is also the result of corrosion. So, corrosion is a very natural process. Under atmospheric conditions, metals get corroded. Now, among the different metals, the most common metal which is used in each and every household work, factories, as a building materials and so many things, agricultural equipments, rails, buses, trains and so on. The most common metal which is largely used on large scale, that is iron. Millions of tons of iron get corroded per year due to the atmospheric reactions. The corrosion of iron is commonly known as rusting of iron. So, what is rusting? Rusting is a slow oxidation. Rusting is a slow oxidation in which the iron gets oxidized slowly under the atmospheric condition by the utilization of oxygen present in air. It first gets converted into ferric oxide. This ferric oxide, when get mixed with atmospheric moisture or the water present on the surface, both of them get combined together to form a reddish brown, flaky, means powdery substance present on the outer surface of the iron objects. So, this coating on the surface of iron is known as rust. Rust is very amorphous material. It remained present on the surface for a shorter period of time. After certain interval, they gets detached from the surface of iron material, and new surface of iron comes in the exposure of atmosphere. In this way, there is a gradual eating of iron, fresh iron, continuously, and it is known as rusting of iron. So, rusting of iron, for the rusting of iron, two factors are essential, that is water or moisture as well as the iron, means moisture and air. Iron, substrate material, air and water or moisture. So, two factors are essential for the rusting of iron. In absence of any of the two, the rusting would not occur. The iron would not get rusted in absence of either oxygen or water. Unless both are present, the rusting would not occur. Now, see here, it can be explained or can be proved that these two factors are responsible for rusting of iron. A simple experiment can be performed to show that both oxygen and water are essential for rusting of iron. Let us take 3 test tubes. 3 test tubes, label them A, B and C respectively. In test tube A, suppose in test tube A, boiled water is taken 1/3 of its volume and fresh iron nails, shiny fresh iron nails are added in this test tube, and a thin layer of oil is made over the surface of water by adding few drops of oil like mustard oil. Now, cover the test tube with the cork. Left this test tube for few days. Now, take second test tube. In this test tube, iron nails are taken along with few crystals of calcium chloride, anhydrous calcium chloride. Air is present above it. The mouth of the test tube is plugged with cork. This test tube is also left for the same period of time, and in a third test tube C, take tap water in place of boiled water. Add few iron nails as earlier and keep the iron nails partially exposed to air so that some of the parts of iron nails are under the water and some of the parts in the contact of air above water. Now its mouth is also plugged with cork. Now left all these three test tubes for the same period of time, say 1 week. Now after a week, if we observe all the three test tubes carefully, we find that iron nails present in the test tube A and B remained unrusted, whereas iron nails of test tube third, in which simple water, that is tap water, was taken, and above this tap water air is also present, which is in direct contact with water. So iron nails in the third test tube get rusted. Now try to understand here why the third test tube, means test tube C, is responsible for rusting of iron, and the previous two test tubes, the iron nails present in them remained unaffected. This is because in test tube A there was boiled water. What do we mean by boiling of water? On boiling water, we have removed dissolved oxygen present in water. So boiled water is free oxygen free water, means the oxygen dissolved in water gets expelled out during boiling, and above this water there is a layer of oil which prevented the contact of air present above this oil with water. So there is no direct contact of air with water. So water here, which is in direct contact with iron nails, has water but no oxygen. That is why iron nails remain unrusted. Let us come to understand the case second, that is test tube B. Here anhydrous calcium chloride is present along with air. No water is added in this test tube. So what happened to the moisture present in air? The moisture present in air inside the test tube get absorbed by anhydrous calcium chloride. So in this test tube, iron nails are in contact with air, that is oxygen, but not in contact with water. So iron nails remained unrusted, as it was taken initially, remained even after 1 week or whatever be the time provided by you. But in third case, what happened? In third case, iron nails are in contact with simple water as well as in the contact with atmospheric air present inside the test tube. So here both the factors, that is air means oxygen as well as water, are present. So they rusted iron nails. So from from these observations or this activity or experiments, we will have studied that for the rusting of iron, both oxygen and water are essential. Now, let us come to the aspect of preventing of iron against rusting or from rusting. What is the need of preventing the rusting? I have already told you that iron is the most widely used metal in our day-to-day life, personal life or public life. In all the sectors of the society or the nation, iron is widely used metal. So we suffer lot of damage due to rusting of iron. So it is very essential to prevent the iron objects from rusting. There are various methods used to prevent the rusting of iron. Just like the rusting of iron can be checked or prevented by first applying paints on the outer surface. When the iron objects are rubbed with sandpaper so that any coating present on the outer surface is removed at first, and then apply paint over the surface. The paint is less reactive material which prevents the surface of iron to come in contact with the atmospheric air as well as water or moisture. So the iron material gets prevented from rusting. Another method of preventing rusting is applying oil or grease on the surface. You have already seen that the ball bearing or the machinery parts are treated with oil or grease from time to time. This makes the material or the objects iron rust free. You know that oil or grease is a hydrophobic substance. Hydrophobic means that repel water from its surface. Means it is not associated with water. It is a hydrophobic substance which has not affinity towards water. That is why water doesn't stick to the surface of such material which is oiled with oil or grease on the surface. Third one is the galvanization of iron. The iron angles, rods or even beams or various equipments just like bucket, all such materials made of iron in their hot condition, when coated with molten zinc, means when such materials are dipped into the molten zinc and after taking out, a layer of zinc is formed on the outer surface of such iron made objects. On cooling, the zinc gets attached permanently on the surface of iron objects. Zinc is relatively less corroded as compared to iron. It is due to the fact that iron forms a thin layer of iron oxide on the outer surface when it is exposed to moist air. This zinc oxide, when this zinc oxide formed on the surface of the iron object, when coated with this molten zinc, it is less reactive. It is called inert surface. So due to the formation of such inert oxide layer on the outer surface of the zinc, it remained unreacted in atmospheric condition, and it also prevents the rusting of iron which is present beneath the coating of zinc on the surface. Now next one is electroplating. Electroplating. In this process, the desired relatively less reactive metals like chromium, tungsten, cobalt, etc. can be coated on the surface of iron objects like the handle of bicycle, motorcycle, or the rim of the wheel, and so on. So these things, when coated with such materials due to the process of electroplating. What happens during electroplating? The iron made materials are made cathode, whereas the metals to be coated like chromium, cobalt, and so on are made anode. The electrolytes are taken having the common ions to the metals to be deposited. So just like if we are going to electroplate the metals with cobalt, so there must be a salt of cobalt taken as the electrolyte here, and cobalt metal itself as the anode. So on passing the electric current through this electrolytic cell, what happens? The anode loses metal ions into the solution, that is into the electrolytic solution, and from the electrolyte metal ions get deposited on the electrode, cathode. What happens here? At anode, metal atom loses electrons and get converted into metal ions, that is cations. The cations passes into the solution, and electrons liberated at anode passes from anode to cathode from the outer circuit, and at cathode these electrons are accepted by the ions present in the electrolyte and get reduced to form a thin layer of metals on the iron objects, which are made cathode. So in this way, as per your requirement, you may pass the current till the deposition of desired metal is completed here. So by doing so, we prevent the rusting of iron objects by electroplating. Now last one is the alloying. Alloy means, alloy is a homogeneous mixture of two or more metals or a metal or a non-metal. So when iron is alloyed with some other metals or even non-metal like carbon, then the alloy of iron become inert about the rusting. The rusting of iron already gets prevented here, just like a steel. A steel is an alloy of iron and carbon. When the percentage of carbon is 0.5 to 1.5 in the iron, then this alloy of iron and carbon is called a steel. In the same way, a stainless steel. A stainless steel are also varieties of steels. They have the homogeneous mixture of various components, that is iron along with nickel, chromium, manganese and so on. So, when such metals or non-metals are mixed with iron, then it gets alloyed, and alloy of iron get rusted very less if exposed to longer period of time. So, on these different methods we can prevent the rusting of iron. So, all these are the corrosion of metals and prevention of rusting of iron. Thank you. Now, one thing which is left in this chapter is a small thing, that is food, that is called, see here, rancidity. Rancidity of oily food. Rancidity of oily food. What is rancidity? Rancidity is also a kind of oxidation process. So, oxidation of oily substance, oxidation of oil, oxidation of oily substance or oil or fat is known as rancidity. And such food materials which contains some sort of oil or fat, that is in which such foodstuffs are prepared, and if we store the oily foodstuff for a longer period of time and exposed to air, what will happen? The oil or fat present in the foodstuff get exposed to atmospheric oxygen, and the atmospheric oxygen slowly reacts with such oily substances and make this oily substance toxic, means poisonous substance. The oxidation product of such oil and fats are very toxic in nature and makes the food unfit for use. So, when such food materials are exposed to air anyway for longer period of time, then the food becomes harmful to us. We are not able to consume such food materials, and if we consume such food materials unknowingly or by mistake, we may suffer from various kinds of abnormalities. It may lead to the death also due to food poisoning. So, rancidity is a process of slow oxidation of oily foodstuffs under the atmospheric condition. Now, how do we prevent such oily foodstuffs to make it fit for use by preventing oxidation. This can be done by any of the following two processes, just like by using antioxidant along with the oily foodstuffs, just like benzoic acid. It is an antioxidant when it is used with such oily substance. It prevents the oxidation of oily foodstuff. The second one is, we have to cut the contact of such foodstuff with atmospheric oxygen by using relatively less inert gas, which is not harmful to us and also obtained easily. In our practical life, the nitrogen is such a gas which is relatively less reactive as compared to oxygen, and it can already been present in large amount in the atmosphere, and from atmosphere the pure nitrogen gas can be achieved by fractional distillation, and this atmospheric pure nitrogen, when get flushed with such oily foodstuff in a polypack bag, we can prevent the oxidation of such oily foodstuffs against the oxygen, and we can use such food materials for a longer period of time, and it would not be spoiled or damaged or even toxic. So this is how we prevent the oxidation of oily foodstuffs, or rancidity can be reduced by such methods. This is all about the rancidity and corrosion. In this way, the chapter which we are dealing here is now concluded, and we will discuss other things in the next class. For the same, you should go through the topic seriously. I have dealt as far as possible as per the requirement of the syllabus. We have finished this chapter, and we will discuss other chapters in the next lesson, in the next period. Now, thank you very much.